Hey, Highlanders. Hey, it's Mrs. Lake from the counseling office, and I get to spend the next few minutes with you talking about your progress toward graduation and preparing you for registering for the next school year coming up fast. All right, so here's what we'll be doing. You'll become familiar with your graduation requirements. You will review your classes that you have taken, and then you'll update your graduation checklist. And you'll be able to identify which classes you need to take for the 21-22 school year that you'll be registering for in just a few days. However, we know that many of you are interested in learning more about the Running Start program. So, just real quick, a message about Running Start. Your school counselors will be offering 4 different orientation sessions for Running Start in March and in February and March. If you would please go to the Hazen website, then go to counseling and then Running Start, and you'll find lots of information about our orientation sessions. You'll find the Zoom link for those events, and you'll also find other information for students who are considering Running Start for next school year. All right, but for now, we need to focus on graduation requirements. So let's get started. Okay, graduation requirements for the class of 2023. How many credits do you need for your high school diploma? You need 26 credits. How do you get to 26 credits? Well, let's do a quick reminder. So, one trimester long class is equal to half a credit. If you're taking 5 classes every trimester times half a credit, that means by the end of each trimester, you'll be earning 2.5 credits. So with 3 trimesters in a year, you should finish out 1 year having earned 7.5 credits times 4 years of high school. Well, that adds up to 30 total possible credits. So you only need 26 specific credits to graduate, but you have the opportunity to earn up to 30 just by passing your classes each trimester. Okay, but in addition to just earning 26 credits, you need to earn them in specific areas. So, of course, you know by now that you need to take language arts classes, you need to take up to 3 years of math. You started social studies this year and you'll continue that in your 11th and 12th grade years. You need to earn 1.5 credits of PE and a half a credit of health. You need to take 3 years of science. You need to take 2 trimesters of career and tech classes. You need to take up to 4 fine arts credits. And I said that wrong. You need to take up to 2 fine arts credits, which are 4 trimester long classes, and also 2 full credits of world language. And then finally, you'll take 6 credits of electives. All right, so let's do a couple of reminders. So, what are a few examples of a fine arts class? Well, just to name a few: ceramics, visual communications, metal design, band, choir, drama. There are quite a few options at Hazen High School. What are some examples of career and tech ed classes? Sometimes we call those CTE classes. Well, just a few examples would be industrial tech, aerospace, construction, business law, child development, culinary. So sometimes students ask me, okay, but then how do I get my elective credits, Mrs. Like? Well, here's what happens. So let's take the career and tech classes listed there as an example. Let's pretend as a student I took construction. So when I finish construction, I check off one of those boxes in the career and tech ed section. And then maybe I moved on and I took business law. Well, that also counts as a career and tech ed class. So then I have finished those 2 required career and tech classes. But maybe I also take culinary foundations. Well, then what box do I check? Well, I finished career and tech ed. It's technically a tech ed class, but since I'm done with that category, I'm going to count that as an elective. So anytime you finish up a minimum requirement, anytime you take more in that area, you get to start checking off elective boxes. Just a quick reminder, did you earn credit for the class you took? If you passed the class with an A, B, C, D, or P equals pass, you get to check off a box on your graduation requirements checklist. However, if you received an F or an NC, which stands for no credit, you did not earn your half credit for that class, so you wouldn't check off a box on your graduation tracking sheet. Okay, in addition to credits, you do have other requirements for your diploma. I'll cover them real quick. You don't necessarily need to be overly concerned about them right now, but just a couple of reminders. So there is something called a graduation pathway requirement. Typically, students meet standard in this area when they take the English Language Arts and Math SBA exams. However, we know some students are not great at taking exams, but don't worry about that because there are other ways to meet standard for this graduation pathway. And if necessary, your counselor will work with you on that process. Additionally, most of you already took your Washington State history class in middle school, and you've already met standard on this requirement. If you didn't take that class for some reason in middle school, we'll still identify which students need to fulfill this requirement. Then there is, of course, a 20 hours of community service requirement. You need to complete those 20 hours by the spring of your senior year. And finally, you update your high school and beyond plan annually, and then in the spring of your senior year, you actually finalize that. And those are the other requirements for a diploma. Okay, to complicate matters a little bit, we want to explain some of these credits that are actually considered flex credits. So fine arts, the basic requirement is that students complete 2 credits. However, one of those credits is part of the personalized pathway requirement, which actually allows for some flexibility of what those credits can actually be. Similar, the world language credits can be replaced if you need to. But let me break this down a little bit. Okay, so the main question to ask is your pathway after high school or a 4-year college or a university? In other words, do you think in your senior year you'll be applying to 4-year colleges directly and hoping to be admitted? If so, then you need to take those 2 credits of a world language for sure. You will not be admitted into a 4-year college without having earned at least 2 credits of world language. However, if you think your pathway after high school is to pursue a 2-year college enrollment, or if you plan to enroll in a technical college or an apprenticeship, in that case, the world language credits aren't necessary for completing your diploma because you don't need them in order to be admitted into those options that I just listed. And so you can actually replace those 2.0 world language credits and up to 1.0 of the fine arts credit with classes that better fit with your career pathway. Okay, so it's time to track your progress toward graduation. So the first step is I want you to get a copy of your graduation checklist. So at this point, your teacher is probably copying a link into the chat, the Zoom chat. And when you click on that, it will automatically launch and ask you to make a copy and save it to your documents. You can also find the graduation checklist in the HmRm Canvas page for today. And then, so you're going to download that document and save it, but leave it open because you will be updating your own checklist in just a few minutes. Next, you will be logging into Skyward. So, of course, the easy way to get there is to go to the Hazen webpage, and about halfway in the middle of that page, if you click on the grades icon, it will launch the Skyward login page, and you can log in from there. Once you have logged into Skyward, you're going to click on the Academic History tab. The classes that you have taken so far in high school are actually listed here, along with the grade that you have earned. So this is a student who is also a 10th grader, just like you. And that student in first trimester of their 10th grade year took Algebra 2A. And you can see if your eyeball follows into trimester 1, that student earned a B. So they definitely passed their class. And you would be able to check off the box in the math category for Algebra 2A. If you scroll down in that section on the academic history tab, you get to see previous grades earned in previous years. So here's another example. So below the 10th grade list, the student also has their 9th grade classes and grades listed. So here's 9th grade, and one thing I want, oh, and you can see that all the classes they took are listed on the left-hand side, but depending on which trimester they actually took the class, that's where the grade that they earned will show up. So for example, the very last class listed here, the student took Pop Culture Podcast in 3rd trimester. So follow all the way over to 3rd trimester column, and you can see the student earned an A for that class. You'll see that advisory, which is homeroom, is also listed here. But just one note, advisory is not a credit-bearing class. And so as you are checking off boxes on your graduation checklist, you do not check off any boxes for advisory. Okay, finally, some of you may have taken classes in middle school that count for high school credit. Those classes would be Algebra 1, Geometry, or Spanish. So if you scroll down even further, you can see grades from middle school. And in this case, this student in 8th grade took Algebra 1 all year long, and you're able to check off the Algebra 1A and B boxes for completing that class, even though it was in 8th grade. But the only classes that are high school credit classes that you may have taken in middle school are just the algebra, geometry, or Spanish. So you couldn't check off any high school boxes on your graduation checklist for any other classes taken in middle school. Okay, so this is just a little bit of information that I don't think you need to be overly worried about right now, but just to note that some classes can count for 2 different types of credits in the Renton School District. These classes they're called cross-credited. Here's an example. So ceramics, if you've taken this class, you can see, according to the course catalog, that this class can be used as either fine arts credit or career and tech ed credit. So if you were to check off a box for ceramics, you can just choose whether you want that to count as your fine art or as a CTE class. If you're not sure what a class counts as, that's totally understandable. You can find more information about all of your classes by going to the course catalog. All you have to do is go to the Hazen webpage, then you would click on the counseling tab, and you would click on course catalog, and you can look up classes from there. Okay, so it is now time to track your progress toward graduation. So you'll start by updating your own graduation tracking form by putting an X in the box for each class you have passed. Remember, passing is A, B, C, D, or P. And you get one, for one trimester long class, it's half a credit, which is 1 box. And then you'll continue checking off each class that you have passed until your graduation tracking form is complete. And then finally, you'll be able to review your graduation tracking form and identify which classes you still need to take next school year. So in just a minute, you can get to work on that. What happens next? So we will be starting registration for the next school year this week. So if you have a core social studies class, that would be human geography, world history, or AP World History. If you have any of those classes, 2nd trimester, a counselor will be presenting in your class the registration process. But some of you don't have any social studies classes this trimester, but that's no problem. You can join in on any of the registration presentations. We have actually emailed you in your Outlook email a list of all of the registration presentations for the class of 2023, and you can join any of those. You can just look at the schedule and choose which one is going to be a best fit for you this week. You can also, if you can't find that email, you can head over to our Hazen webpage, go to counseling, and then registering for the 21-22 school year tab, and then drop down to the class of 2023 information, and you can find our registration presentation schedule there. So join any presentation that will work for you. All right, so if you would now take some time to log into Skyward and check off the classes from the Academic History tab on your graduation checkoff sheet, then you will know what you need to start considering and thinking about for next year. Just a tip, if you don't know how to log into Skyward or you need to reset your password, there are directions on your Canvas page for today to help you out with that. All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great day.